Come on, don't just stand there. Let us start eating. Oh, look, there's only one chair left. Did you two from that sandwich shop think you were going to sit at the same table as us? If you did, it would make fine dine seem cheap, wouldn't it? We've arranged for you to sit separately. You've got the seats in the garden that's a luxury for you, isn't it? I hope you appreciate it. But since it went over budget, here's your table. Here are some cardboard and paper cups. My sister-in-law, Natalie, with a smirk, brought over some cardboard from the edge of the living room. It had a section cut out in a circle with a paper cup fitted in it. It looked like she kindly made a drink holder. My mother-in-law's birthday party is held every year, and this year my mother, Linda, was invited. However, it turned into a scheme to make me feel uncomfortable, involving my mother as well. If there's anything you want to eat, just tell me. I'll hand it to you through the window. Please enjoy your day today, Natalie said. Seeing my mother puzzled, she thrust the cardboard at her and looked at my face, clearly amused by my reaction. Shall we go? My mother asked, slowly placing the cardboard on the floor. We left my husband's family home. I'm really sorry. I'll cut ties with those people from now on, I said. As soon as we left, the front door burst open, and my husband, Daniel, came out, apologizing deeply to my mother. It's okay. Don't worry about it, she replied. I wondered what was okay. I felt odd that Daniel was apologizing and couldn't shake the annoyance. However, without me doing anything, my in-laws received their retribution for treating my mother so poorly, leading to a major disaster. My name is Sophia. I am 26 years old and work in an office, newly married. My husband is in sales. Our meeting was through a common friend, nothing extraordinary. If I had to force a sense of fate into our marriage, it would be that we are from the same hometown and attended the same schools. But Daniel is 2 years older, and we had no acquaintance at all. Therefore, we have always lived in our hometown but only met as adults. From the outside, we might seem like any ordinary couple. However, this ordinary life feels like a happy life to me, even if everything isn't perfect. I am typically troubled by my relationship with my in-laws. It started from the first meeting with them. I run a restaurant, but I am 55 years old, and it's time to think about retiring. Oh, a restaurant that's impressive. It's just a small sandwich place, actually. Sandwiches today are nothing like what we ate as kids. Back then, they were simple, but now there are many options. Really, that's interesting. Yes, there are things like sandwich bars. It's a completely different image now. We don't serve fancy stuff at our place, just simple ones that are popular. Also, I help out at other shops, so it's a casual operation, open sometimes and not others. I take over the shop on weekends when I'm off work. You seem very busy. My mom's conversation about running a food business caught the interest of my mother-in-law, Evelyn, and father-in-law, George, and the conversation got lively. My husband and father seemed a bit out of place, but the atmosphere was generally good. The conversation between my mother and the in-laws was lively because they shared the common ground of being business owners. You run a printing company, right? That's much more impressive than me. No, our company is just a small rural business. Nowadays, with online advertising and home printing, it's tough competing against cheap online printers. But our company is old and well established. We get a lot of business from local restaurants and companies, particularly orders from popular restaurants for flyers, coupons, and business cards. My daughter, who's not here today, works on creating and managing websites for us. Websites are essential for restaurants, right? Yes, so we've been really supported by the food business, even in our website operations. When the conversation shifted to the printing business, I found it hard to join in, like my husband and father. But since the atmosphere was lively, I pretended to understand and nodded along as I listened to the conversation between my mother and my in-laws. The initial meeting with the parents went without any issues, and I felt relieved, thinking that I could establish a good relationship with my in-laws. However, on the way back, I was troubled by a question and asked my husband, "Why did you say before the meeting not to mind whatever your parents might say?" "Because they have unique personalities. They seemed nice today, but it's usually not like that. You'll understand in time, just be cautious." My husband looked at me with a worried expression. Not understanding his words or his expression, I gave him a puzzled look. I thought the in-laws might be strict with family, and the impression they make on me and my husband is different. At that moment, I concluded that. But soon, I would come to understand the meaning behind my husband's words and expressions. The following Sunday, I was minding the shop because my mother had errands, and my in-laws came by. "You're here?" "Yes, but this is the shop." My mother-in-law looked at the sign and menu in front of the shop as if they were something dirty. It seemed quite different from what she had imagined. Shocking, isn't it, to think there's a shop in a garage in the middle of a residential area? Yes, I was shocked by how shabby it looks. You mentioned something about a bar and all, so I thought it was a fancy place, but it looks like a shanty. I think it was you and not my mother who talked about bars and such. Is your mom not here? She's out on another job. You mentioned she helps out at other shops, so I thought there was a branch or something, but apparently not. She must be working part-time because the shop doesn't make enough. No way customers would come to a place like this. It's not exactly like that, but I guess it's understandable to think that way. In reality, my mother's shop didn't cost much, and half of it was DIY by my father as an amateur, so it looks like a homemade warehouse. But the taste of my mother's shop is good, so the appearance doesn't matter. I'll make a sandwich now. Try it with our proud mayonnaise. I was thoroughly trained by my mother in making them, so while my other cooking is at a housewife's level, I consider my sandwich to be professional. Please, it's definitely delicious, give it a try. What is this? It's really just mayonnaise. Is this the modern sandwich I've heard about? It looks just like mayonnaise, but actually, there's a twist to it. I can imagine the taste without eating, so I don't need it. My in-laws threw the sandwich in the trash bin in front of the shop. I was so shocked by the scene that I couldn't close my mouth or find words to speak. I figured out what kind of people you all are. The marriage is between you and Daniel, so I won't interfere, but don't bring your poverty to us. While I was frozen in shock, my in-laws left. I looked into the trash bin and saw the sandwich, feeling more sad than angry. That evening, I told my husband what his parents had done. I'm really sorry. I'll talk to them. You see what I meant, right? Somehow, my mom and dad just say what they think directly. Plus, they have this weird pride about being business owners with no consideration for others. So that's why they ended up talking about being poor and care too much about money and appearances. Actually, my sister is the same type, and it was the cause of her divorce. Did she keep calling her husband poor? No, it's the other way around. He was an engineer making good money, but Mom, Dad, and Natalie kept talking about money too much, and he got fed up. My husband bowed his head as if he had done something wrong, making me feel guilty for bringing it up. It seems the compatibility between my in-laws and my mother is not good. My mother doesn't care much about appearances or money, so it's hard to predict what the in-laws might criticize. Right before the wedding, I became anxious about whether I could build a good relationship with them. My husband scolded his parents for throwing away the sandwich, but he had done so before with no improvement in their behavior. It seemed best not to expect any change. He suggested we keep our distance from his family, meeting only once a year, and that he should visit alone as much as possible. I wanted to build a good relationship with my in-laws, but rushing things usually doesn't end well. I decided to take my husband's advice. Despite some hiccups, we managed to get married without significant issues. Our married life is going smoothly, and I am happy. However, becoming a daughter-in-law after getting married seemed to invite new problems. 3 months after the wedding, during our happy newlywed life, I received a call from my sister-in-law. Mom's birthday is coming up soon. Oh, is it? We have this tradition of celebrating Mom's birthday every year. Could you handle the preparations? Me. Until now, I've been doing everything on my own, but you're a daughter-in-law now, so naturally, it becomes your responsibility. It's quite an event with about 20 to 30 guests, and you'll need to prepare the venue, cook the food, and arrange the seating. I have a child, and you don't, so you have plenty of free time. My child has a birthday that's almost at the same time, so I can't help you, even if I wanted to. I'm fine with helping, but I've never done it before. Come on, you're a wife now, you should know these things. Don't worry, I'll drop by and check in case something is missing. And so, with the help of my mother, I began preparing for the party. On the day of the event, I was busy working from early in the morning. The main course is roast beef. The garnishes are simple carrots and potatoes. I'll prepare the side dishes. The potato salad is ready. There's soup too, but I don't know if they'll drink it. I've made the cake, please check it. Will you manage? Yes, somehow, I replied, unsure if I really could handle it. If you can't handle it, it's better to tell me now. I can call some professional cooks. No, I'll do it. It'll be a learning experience. Well, it's quite a large event. But you don't need to cook the main dishes yourself, you could order them. I'll make them myself. With my mother's assistance, I managed to prepare for the party. However, when Natalie arrived to check, she was furious. Who puts potato salad on the menu for a party that's such a common dish? Are you even thinking, and what's with this potato soup? Isn't it redundant with potato salad? The dishes are too cheap and homemade. Where did you even find such recipes? We don't have much time, so we had to go with something simple. We don't need cheap food at this event. Natalie shouted, knocking the soup pot over. The hot soup spilled onto my arm, causing a burn. Why did you do that? It's your fault. Why would you serve potato soup at such a prestigious event? Natalie replied, pushing me with enough force to make me lose my balance. The plate I was holding shattered on the floor. The noise attracted Daniel's attention, and he rushed over to the kitchen. What's going on? It's nothing. Sophia just needs to fix her mistakes, that's all, Natalie replied, her tone still harsh. Please, Natalie, just let her do it her way. It's her first time handling this, and she's doing her best. My first time too, but I don't make such blunders. We'll manage. Sophia, are you okay? Daniel asked, his voice filled with concern. Yes, I'm fine, I replied, trying to hide the pain from the burn on my arm. I think it's better if you handle it, Natalie, my husband said, trying to defuse the situation. No, she needs to learn. Let her handle it, Natalie insisted before storming out of the kitchen. I felt like I was caught in a power struggle I didn't sign up for, but I couldn't back down now. I finished preparing the dishes with my mother's help and, by the time the guests arrived, the table was set. During the party, I noticed my in-laws whispering to each other and occasionally casting critical glances in my direction. Natalie made sure to point out every minor mistake, like the way the cutlery was placed or how the wine was served. By the end of the event, I was exhausted, both physically and emotionally. When the last guest left, I collapsed into a chair, feeling defeated. Sophia, you did well, Daniel said, rubbing my shoulders. I don't think your family agrees, I replied, feeling tears well up. They're tough, but I'm proud of you. You didn't give up, he said, kissing the top of my head. Thanks, but I don't think I want to do this again. And you don't have to. We'll talk to them. It's not fair to put all this on you, he reassured me. And so, I survived my first major event as a daughter-in-law, but I knew that navigating my relationship with my in-laws would continue to be a challenge. I just hoped that, with Daniel by my side, I could find a way to make it work. The following weeks were a whirlwind of adjusting to the aftermath of the party and dealing with the fallout from my in-laws' criticism. Daniel and I had several discussions about how to handle our relationship with his family. He reassured me that we'd address the issues, but the tension lingered. One day, as I was sorting through some paperwork, I received a call from Natalie. I hesitated before answering, dreading what she might say. Sophia, it's Natalie. I just wanted to follow up on the party. Hello, Natalie. What's up? I've been thinking about how things went. I realize I might have been too harsh. It's just that our family has certain standards. But it's clear you were trying your best. Thank you for saying that. It was a challenging experience for me. I understand. And I appreciate your efforts. However, you should be aware that your choices reflected a lack of preparation. For future events, it would be better to consult with us beforehand. I'll keep that in mind, I replied, trying to keep the conversation polite. Also, I know Mom can be very critical, but that's just how she is. If you ever need help, don't hesitate to reach out. Okay. I'll do that, I said, relieved that Natalie's tone was softer. After the call, I felt a bit more at ease, though the damage from the event still stung. Daniel and I continued to build our lives together, focusing on our relationship and our plans for the future. As time went on, I started to notice small but positive changes. Natalie and I had more interactions that were less tense, and though my in-laws still had their moments, they seemed to be accepting me more as part of the family. I began to see that despite their initial harshness, there was a genuine attempt to integrate me into their family dynamics. One evening, as Daniel and I were relaxing after dinner, he brought up the idea of a family vacation. What do you think about taking a trip together, just the three of us? It might be a good way to relax and spend some quality time as a family. I'd love that. Do you have any particular destination in mind? I was thinking of somewhere peaceful, like a lakeside cabin or a small resort. It could be a great escape from the everyday hustle. I agree. Let's start planning. I think it would be a great way to bond and create some happy memories, I said, feeling excited about the idea. Planning the trip became a source of joy and anticipation for us. It gave us something positive to look forward to and helped us focus on our family unit rather than the stressors we'd been dealing with. The vacation turned out to be just what we needed. The serene environment allowed us to unwind and enjoy each other's company. Ethan loved the outdoors, and seeing him so happy was a highlight. It was during this trip that Daniel and I had meaningful conversations about our future and how we could better navigate our relationship with his family. The time away helped to reinforce our bond and gave us a fresh perspective. When we returned, the tension with my in-laws had eased somewhat. They seemed to recognize our efforts to fit into their world and, in turn, made an effort to be more supportive. Though the journey wasn't without its bumps, I realized that building a relationship with my in-laws was a gradual process. With patience and understanding from both sides, I hoped that things would continue to improve. For now, I was content to focus on our small family and the happiness we found in each other's company. Life went on with its usual ups and downs, but I felt more prepared to face whatever challenges came our way. With Daniel by my side and the lessons we learned, I was confident that we could navigate the complexities of family life together.